Hi there, it's good to see you again on our YouTube series brought to you by O3 Schools JAMB app. And our topic for today is God's covenant with Israel. We've been on the covenant for quite a while now. We've looked at, definition of covenant, importance, significance. We've looked at God's covenant with Noah. We looked at God's covenant with Abraham. And now I want to look at God's covenant with Israel. So if you haven't looked up any of those videos, do well to look it up. God's covenant with Israel is documented in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, chapter 20, chapter 24, as well as in Deuteronomy chapter 28. So God's covenant with Israel, we can find it in Exodus chapter 19, chapter 20, chapter 24, and also in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt until God used Moses to rescue them. Let's just take that down. They were in captivity in Egypt. Until God used Moses to rescue them. Now, 3 months after the Israelites were rescued from Egypt, they were in the wilderness in Mount Sinai. Where God told Moses to tell them, remember, God was communicating to the Israelites through Moses. So God told Moses to tell them that if they would keep his covenant, remember, God had a covenant with Abraham, and he told Abraham that that covenant would, extend down to his descendants. It would not end with him. So God told the Israelites that if they would keep his commandment, he would make them a special people, a special treasure to him above other people. He would make them a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So Moses went to the Israelites with all the Lord has said. The Lord said, if you keep my commandments, I will make you a special treasure to me above all people, and I will make you a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And the Israelites told Moses that all the Lord has said, we will do. God now decided to visit the Israelites. He wanted them to know that he was real. Don't just think Moses is coming to give you words that he thought of. So God said he wanted to visit the Israelites so that they will see him and believe in him forever. So God asked Moses to consecrate the Israelites. For 2 days, they cleaned themselves, they created barriers because God asked them nobody should touch the mountain. Anyone that touches the mountain will die. So they created barriers so nobody would touch the mountain, and they consecrated themselves. So on the 3rd day, God came to the mountain in fire, and the entire mountain was engulfed in smoke. The people were afraid, they were scared, and they told Moses to keep communicating to God on their behalf. So Moses should go, God will talk to him, and then he will come back and interpret, deliver the message that God had sent to them. So God, by visiting them, God was trying to let them know that they didn't need smaller gods. You don't need to worship any idols, or you don't need an intermediary to talk to me. You can worship me directly. So that was what God was trying to let them know, that they should not go through any other means to get to him. They can talk to him directly. So he told Moses to also tell them that they should build altars made of earth and make their offerings there. Their burnt offerings, their peace offerings. Also, there should be no steps to the altar. So there should be no steps to the altar as well. So Moses went back to the people with these words. God has said, you don't need other gods to worship me. All you need to do is build your altars of earth and make your burnt and peace offerings there. God will bless you. There should be no steps to the altar as well. So the people once again agreed that all the Lord has said they will do. And Moses put down what the God said. He wrote it down, and then he built an altar with 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of Judah, and he sent young men to make sacrifices of oxen there. Half of the blood he poured on the altar, and the other half, once again, he asked them. He read the things God has asked them to do, and asked them again. They agreed that all the Lord has said they will do. And so he sprinkled the blood on the people, and he said to them, this is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you. So that was God's covenant with Israel, or should I say God's old covenant with Israel. First of, the Israelites were in captivity in Egypt until God rescued them. Now, when they were rescued and they came to the wilderness in Mount Sinai, God told Moses to tell them that if they would keep his commandments, he will make them a special treasure to him above other people, and a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, which the people of Israel agreed. The Israelites agreed to keep God's commandments, and God even came to visit them, even though they were scared, and asked Moses to keep communicating to God on their behalf. So God told them that all they need to do was to build altars of earth and make their burnt and peace offerings to him, and he will bless them. Once again, they agreed that all the Lord has said they will do. Moses asked them again, and they still agreed. This was after young men had offered sacrifices of oxen on the altar that Moses built with 12 stones to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. So he sprinkled the blood on the Israelites as a sign of the covenant that what the Lord has made with them. You see it in the Bible. Bible says this is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you. Now we head to the O3 Schools JAMB app. So we've treated God's covenant with Israel. We now head to the O3 Schools JAMB app. If you've not downloaded it, please do well to download. It's available for download on Play Store. So we head to the O3 Schools JAMB app, and we look for questions on God's covenant with Israel. This is a 1997 question, number 2. By keeping God's covenant, the people of Israel would become A, conquerors of nations, B, a nation where God will manifest himself, C, the inheritors of the earth, D, a kingdom of priests of God. The answer is D, a kingdom of priests of God. See where God told them that if you keep my commandments, I will make you a special treasure to me above other people, and a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. So the answer is D, a kingdom of priests of God. Then we have this question from 2007, number 25. The purpose of the covenant between God and the Israelites was to A, make them obey him, B, make them rule over the nations, C, establish a kingdom for them, D, distinguish them from other nations. The answer is A, make them obey him. God said, if you keep my commandments, so he wanted them to obey. Then here's another question from 2006, number 34. The covenant which God made with the Israelites was ratified when, that means it was approved, confirmed, when A, the blood was sprinkled on the people, B, Moses built an altar at the foot of Mount Horeb, C, 12 pillars were set up to represent the 12 tribes of Israel, D, the young men offered burnt and peace offerings. It was ratified when the blood was sprinkled on the people. That was the concluding act. Moses built the altar first with 12 stones, and then the people made the sacrifices before he then sprinkled the blood and was like, this is the blood of the covenant. So it was ratified when the blood was sprinkled on the people, the last act then. We also have another question here. This is 2010, number 3. In God's covenant with Israel, the central theme was A, restoration, B, circumcision, C, obedience, D, salvation. The central theme was C, obedience. God wanted them to obey him. If you will keep my commandments, so if you obey me, this is what I will do for you. So the central theme was obedience. Now that's it for God's covenant with Israel. But then there are still many more questions on the app. So do well to download the O3 Schools JAMB app and practice more. In our next class, we'll look at God's covenant with Israel, the new covenant.